Best damn coffee house in Redondo Beach.
Yes, the
We're delighted.
Yeah, the owner is probably the best supportive owner for poetry one could hope for. Totally neglects us, and that's the way we want it.
Doesn't know we exist.
Yeah, we just bring them an audience, they make money, and they give us a roof. That's the best symbiosis we could ask for.
The chance of being blown away by a poem, either from a reader we know really well or somebody who's never been here before. There's that potential every single week. So yeah, I show up for that.
I like it when the audience feeds, the audience, I really should say, the poets who come up here feed off of each other, and then a night will suddenly start building, and you know, you start seeing themes and people pick up energy. The audience starts feeding into that, and next thing you know, a sense of community will, you know, just coalesce magically.
As the newest member, I can say there are regulars, and I've seen them for a year and more, and they do a very good job of holding up the roof when, you know, we have a quiet night. But yeah, we do get, actually lately especially, a lot of people dropping in, and it's just a pleasure to have people you see over and over. You start to get to know their work, you start to hear the same themes going through. So yeah, it's nice.
We like to think that we make it really comfortable for the people who show up. First-timers who are nervous. People say, you know, this is the first time I've ever been at a reading. There was a woman sitting back there tonight, not a reader, never stayed for poetry, and I just had a great time.
That's awesome.
You know, people who are not. We probably have an audience that has more non-readers in it than most venues. Most venues, you show up and most of the people in the audience, well, guess what? They're on the open mic list. We have people who, we'll have 10 people here, a third, a fourth of the audience. They're not going to read poetry. They're just here to have, you know, be here for it.
Yeah, they're here to study for their homework.
They are doing their
block
homework.
the entrances,
Playing chess.
and yet they stay, and sometimes they even start to write. And
that's happened. That's happened.
About 10 years ago, we started a workshop and a reading, because, you know, after you work on a poem, you want to read it to somebody other than yourself. So after doing that for about 2 years, we were kicked out of some of the best coffee shops on
Catalina.
On Catalina, up and down the street.
We only work in places on Catalina Avenue.
Yeah, they should have called us the Catalina Poets, but you know, people would be swimming across to the island. It'd be very confusing. So, a long story, boring. We finally were at a place down in Manhattan Beach, thinking of a change in names to Manhattan Poets, and then the owner of the place sold it to this owner, and he said, you know what, leave Manhattan Beach, come back to Redondo, we have a much cooler place, the couches are so much dirtier, and here we are, 10 years later. Every Tuesday, rain, shine.
We're dark maybe 2 nights a year.
Yeah. Yeah, those darn Christmas holidays just...
Halloween, never again on Halloween.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, God.
Some people are in their voice already. There were several of them tonight. They're mature, they're in their voice, their work is great. And other people who start out very tentatively, right? And over a period of 6 to 8 months, you know, 10 or 12 times. I mean, I'm thinking of, I don't know, there's been quite a few people. We think, yes, they enlarge their idea of what a poem can be from something rather limited, predictable. You heard a couple tonight. And then they start taking some chances, or they say, you know, I read this, or I heard somebody, and all of a sudden there's a change in their voice.
So they go back on their meds and they get therapy.
And we never see them again.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I get to hear a lot of great people read. And together we get to invite people whose work we really enjoy hearing. And there's kind of an impresario thing. I mean, presenting it to an audience. It's only like 40 people, you know, at a time, but people have come to kind of, I think they have a pretty good opinion of the work that we showcase. And so that's a big part of it.
I've actually approached a couple people to feature, mostly because I heard them read and I loved their work. And then there are other people that I've read their work and I've heard they were passing through town and kind of approached them. And it's really who you want to bring, you know, sort of as an offering to the group, because you respect their work and you respect the people who come, and you want to sort of broker that and bring that together. So
do you all share the search for new talent?
I implicitly trust these two to bring great talent.
Of course you have ideas. You make suggestions.
Yeah,
we bring people.
I booked the first 2 years, and we just keep milking those people.
We get unsolicited requests. You know, for out-of-towners. We have people from out of town who've read here once and say, I'm coming back. Do you have a slot in April?
Fortunately, they never do.
And we say, oh, I'm sorry, we're booked. No. we get unsolicited stuff. We get recommendations. We just got a great recommendation in the mail yesterday that I forwarded to Jim and Stephany so they could hear the actual, see the actual words of the person who was recommending this reader to us. And we'll just take a lot on faith from certain people, say, oh, we're going to feature that person based on this preference. Well, okay. Usually we'll read other people's poetry because we want to say, oh, here's a reader, here's an author you probably never heard of, but listen to this terrific poem. And once in a while people will say, what was the name of that guy again that you read? I want to go look at it. So it's more of a proselytizing effort, you know. He says, hey, here's some good poetry, you know, there's a lot of it out there. Why don't you try some? Once in a while, I want to try out a piece just to see how it goes across. If the evening's not, too crowded, going too long, and that kind of thing. So it's a what do you call it? A staging area for our own work too. Say, well, here's something I'm working on. Let's see how it goes. So we'll use the audience, both ways.
you can hear when you're at the mic, when you're breaking the rhythm, when the poem kicks you out, when you can't find, you slip on the next step to the next line, and that starts to tell you where the revision's going to be, or that starts to tell you where, maybe you've got to think about what's holding it together.
Actually, honestly, to pull off a poem, I need to put so much energy into it that I'm not going to read till the end of the evening. And usually I have no more energy left to give to my poem after 2 hours of doing the reading. So
we're all active writers.
Yep.
On occasion.
We're all active,
Yep.
Trying to
read
get
at other locations as features as well.
Yes. In fact, did you know we're featured together in April on the 19th?
Are we really?
The three of us.
What a pleasure.
it keeps building.
Where?
That's great.
At in Venice, Horse of Another Color.
Fabulous.
I'm just telling them.
You've heard it here first. Breaking exclusive.
Yes.
This just in.
Wow.
Yeah.